welcome back to another episode of Gameball with your host Matson Montilla. Today, joining the show, we have Clemson University linebacker Jesiah Carlton. How you doing today, man?
Pretty good, man. Glad to be here. Appreciate you having me on the podcast. Excited to be here, bro.
Yeah, of course. I'm glad we were able to make it work. I know we were talking for the past couple of weeks, DMing, figuring it out, so I'm glad it worked out.
Yeah, well, we're here now. We're ready.
Yeah, for sure. So what I like to do is I like to go back to not like, what happened yesterday, but start of it all, right? You're a kid. You're growing up. Why did you want to play football?
So really, I started out, first sport I ever played was basketball. And so I did basketball for probably about 2 years, and then I started doing taekwondo. And that was like basketball and taekwondo were like my main two things. But then like growing up, I was like one of the bigger kids. So like I always wanted to play football. But the first year I tried to go out was like first grade, I want to say, and I didn't meet the weight limit. And my mom didn't want me to play football. So she was like, I would have had to play like 2 years up. So I'd been playing with like third and fourth graders. She was like, you're not doing that. So then second grade comes around, try to go back out, same thing. They're like, you have to play with fifth graders now. So then my third grade year, which was my last year at taekwondo, my dad finally like talked her into it, and she was like, so it's either taekwondo or football, and I was like, never played football, like I come back to taekwondo. So then went out there third grade year and like was just like really good at it. Like my brother, my dad, they were really great players in college. So then started playing it, and then like I've always watched football, and so I was like, it was just something that I kind of fell in love with, and I was like really good at it. So then I just took the opportunity, and ever since then it was just kind of a thing. Like if I wasn't playing football, like something not right.
Yeah.
And, like so I've been playing from third grade. My fifth grade year broke my collarbone, so I didn't get to play then. But ever since then it's been an every year thing. So like I mean it's kind of like a sport that I just love, and like the lesson that you learn from like life about it, So it's like just stuck with it.
Yeah, definitely. You mentioned it. Your dad went to Winston-Salem State, played football there. So was he like? Just the idea of him playing there, and did that make you want to play football even more because he did, or just because it was something that interested you?
I'll say it was more of like a friends thing. Like I had like all my friends, they could meet their weight limits, and their parents didn't really like have a problem with it. So like we'd come to school and like they'll be like, oh yeah, like what happened at your game Saturday, or like we beat y'all. So it was kind of like I always heard it talk, but I never was on the team. So it was kind of a thing. Like I was just like I want to be a part of that, just kind of competing against like the guys I'm going to school with and everything. But then like with him like playing football, he's like All-American at Winston State. And he got a shot with the Redskins, but then like something happened with his agent, and he didn't really get a chance to really like go for it. So, and then my brother, he was like really good at football. He didn't start playing his sophomore year of high school, I want to say, and he got a scholarship to Florida A&M for academic and football. Oh wow! So then it was kind of just like a thing of like I had the role models in front of me, so I just had to kind of go just chase it.
Definitely. Yeah. Was it weird playing up? I mean, you're a kid and you had the idea of playing up. I mean, it's one thing if you're, I feel like 15, you kind of understand the idea, but if you're younger in elementary school, it's like it's a weird idea, right?
It was. I was like for me, like I always played like backyard football, stuff like that, but like actual tackle football, like I never played it. So then like I'm a third grader, and my first year I'm playing with fifth graders. So like everybody's like I'm big, but like they're bigger than me, like maybe a little bit stronger, a little bit faster. So it was like kind of a thing. Like I remember the first day hitting, like I didn't even know how to like properly hit anybody. So I just kind of had to like learn fast, and like if I didn't, like I would kind of fall below the ranks, and like it kind of came natural to me. Like it was just a thing. Like I'm bigger. I knew how to do everything else. So it was just like learning how to tackle and like just be physical with people. That was kind of the thing that was hardest for me. And then getting over that fear factor of like people being older than me. But once I got over that, it was it was cake.
Yeah. So I'm sure that helped though when it came to high school. So high school rolled around. You went to Reagan. Obviously a really good football team. One of the highest divisions you could play in North Carolina, 4A. But when you went out there, you excelled. You did incredible things. 3-year lettered for linebacker, won MVP for your school at one point. So what was high school like, and how was that whole process just going out there and representing your school?
It was really amazing. So I lived in Virginia for middle school and moved back my ninth grade year. So when I moved back, like the football that we played in middle school in Virginia, because like it's a lot more competitive. They have like higher divisions and whatnot. And so I was kind of used to like competing against like really good players. So when I come back to like my own city and like I'm playing with my friends, it kind of had that competitive thing with it. And then like the school I went to, it was built in like 2010, so like they didn't really have a lot of recognition, but we had a lot of really good players. And our head coach actually played at Winston State too. So we had a good foundation of players, and like our culture was really good. And it just kind of like it was like a thing of just being back home, and then like being able to step into a leadership role early. Because my freshman year I played JV, but then sophomore year I started on varsity. So it was like a thing of like I was back in that role of being like the youngest guy on the team, and I just had to kind of do what I've been doing my whole life and just compete. But it just taught me a lot of things, like just how to like be a leader at an early age, and just kind of learn how to grind it out. Like days would be tough. Like first day of hitting, like I haven't been lifting weights but like a year. A lot of the guys are older, stronger, and I just loved it. Like I honestly, like our team, my sophomore year we had a really good team, and like that was probably one of the closest teams I've ever been on. So like that was like really like where you like kind of learn like what football teaches you and like the lessons that you can learn from it.
Definitely. Was there any one lesson that stuck out to you?
Really just like not taking like life for granted. Because like I said, my sophomore year that was our best team that I would say we had in history of the school. Went to like the third round of playoffs, but like the guys that we had on that team, like some of the older guys, they'd be like, don't take it for granted. And like all those younger guys would be like, like we got time, blah, blah, blah. But like looking back at it now, like I've never been on a team that was just like that close and like really like fought for each other. So that I would say that was probably like the the biggest one. I'll take any time that you have on life for granted or anything like that.
Definitely, that's huge. It's a big one. I mean, it applies to more than just football, like you mentioned. But so this is talking about Winston-Salem as a whole. Do you think it's, I don't know if it's a hotbed, but do you think it produces good football players? I mean, I know obviously you, KJ is from there. Christian Beal Smith, running back, I think at South Carolina now. But what's the competition like there?
It's really high. Like the only thing I would say that just kind of like holds us back from other places is just like exposure. Because like like other places like Texas, Virginia, California, like they have all that exposure, so they can kind of like breed those guys up. But like most of us, we grow up playing basketball, and you just like football is just the thing you play because everybody else playing it. So you really don't get it that you have to kind of like work hard and like kind of be like a grinder just to make it to that top point until you're a little bit too old. And like the guys that really like shine are the ones that had like good mentors, like fathers that kind of like push them or whatnot, or just like had a really good coach at some point in the time. So like it was like we definitely produce, but for us to take it to that next level and just like be on the map, we just need more people to kind of lead and like show the young guys what to do.
So, as I said, I mentioned KJ playing there. He went to I believe the rival high school of yours. What were those matchups like, just in terms of like, that's a big rivalry, right? Yeah. So what was that like? I mean, high school football, did he get a lot of exposure there? Was that hyped up?
Yeah, my freshman year, it was kind of a JV thing. So like amongst like 9th, 10th graders, you're talking. But like my varsity, like when I first got to varsity, we played them for the first time. That was probably one of the most like intense games I ever played in. Yeah. Like you had the student sections like full, and then it's just like everybody in town. Like we both pretty good teams, and they would just come out and like, you have people like on both sides that are just hating on the other team. So it's just like. It kind of, I don't want to compare it to like college, because it's nothing like that, but it's like, it's more intense because it's your hometown people, your friends and everything like that. So it's like you feel like you're actually playing for something like a title. And then like just being on the field with like guys that you've grown up your whole life, like it's a lot of smack talk. A lot of guys, get heated. It gets heated and like, but at the end of the day, like that's your boy. Like you can go home the next day and see him. So it's like, you kind of just know what you're playing for and like who you're playing for, and like I loved it. I wish I could go back. Like I wish I could.
They always say nothing like Friday Night Lights. Right?
Nothing. You'll never get another time like that in your life. I promise.
Do you and KJ ever talk about it now that you're teammates at all? I mean, obviously you're friends too, growing up.
Yeah, so I beat his school my freshman sophomore year, but then he transferred there. I was a junior. He was a sophomore. And ever since then, we never beat him. So he likes to, kind of brag about it.
Okay. So when you played, or when Reagan won, he wasn't on the team for. Okay.
Yeah, he reclassed and went to one of our private schools. So when I was a junior, he was a sophomore, and yeah, they kind of beat us. But they cheated a lot. They were cheating school, so like I really won't talk too much about it. But if you're watching this, KJ, you know y'all cheat. Senior year, you know what happened. So yeah.
Okay. Can you get more into it? Like what happened?
Okay, so we come out. It's like big week. Everybody's talking smack, you know. So the night before the game, some of their players or some of their students, like which we all knew, we were all friends with them. They went to our school and kind of like vandalized. We had our entrance was a hill, so they vandalized the hill, spray painted the field. We had a rock in our school, it was like our pride rock. Spray painted that, like threw toilet tissue everywhere. So we come for our team breakfast on that Friday morning. We're like, whoa, like so like, we're like, all right, this is gonna be a good game. So game starts out and we're like blowing them out. Like we played way harder than them. We were supposed to win, but like combined with the refs and like just like mishaps that happened in the game, like they kind of overcame. But you ask anybody on that team, we won. Like,
okay.
You can't tell it's different.
Okay.
And so you know, I never lost. I didn't lose that year. I'll say that.
All right, okay. I respect it.
Yeah,
I respect it. I mean, you gotta say that.
Yeah, I'll hold it in my heart for the rest of my life.
Yeah. You gotta go back in time. But so you obviously went to Wingate after your high school career. But what was like the recruitment process? Like, how did Wingate become the school that you wanted to go to? Were there other schools that were looking at you, or how did it happen?
So really, Wingate was just like it was not expected at all. So my junior year, I got my first offer from Elon University. But like for me, I was a kind of guy like was thinking like all I see was a lot of guys going big D1. And like my friends that were back in Virginia, they were getting like these Power 5 offers. So like in my head, I'm thinking big D1. So got Elon, then Western Carolina was next. And then like I had like Furman and like Presbyterian, like, you know, smaller D1s. But I really wasn't getting those big Power 5s that I want. Like I was going to visit those, like Carolina, schools like that. So I'm like, you know, I'm waiting for them to pull the trigger, but they were kind of like just being like, hold on, we'll let you know kind of later on in the recruitment process. And then like really late, I say my junior year, App State came along. And like that was, before then, like I kind of knew a little bit about App State, but like once I went on a visit, fell in love with it. So like they were like really heavy on me. And so I was really planning on going there. But then something happened with like a guy decommitted from another school, came back to them and like took that spot, that offer spot. So then I tried to go back to Elon, but I had waited too late to commit to them. And so it was kind of a thing, like I had to make a decision, like go to a school that doesn't really win, because I could have went to like Furman or Presbyterian, one of those schools, but it was like I really wanted to win. So then like once that happened, my high school coach kind of made some calls, and Wingate was a school that had came like my junior year and talked to some of my other teammates, but they didn't talk to me like directly. And they were doing pretty good, and I was like, it's D2, but like, you know, I kind of just got to make that choice of like, do I want to win, or like, what do I want to do? So I mean, it was like one of the biggest decisions I had to make really in life, like first mature. I ain't gonna say the first mature, but like one of the biggest mature decisions I had to make at a young age. And I mean, it was freshman year we won our conference and everything, so I got a ring freshman year. So I mean, it was a good decision, but I did have like going through college a lot of regret, like, oh, I should have went D1 and like, you know, tried to transfer a couple times, but like it was a private school, so credits messed up, and it was different.
I feel like you know, recruitment does start at, you know, sophomore, junior year of high school. You're so young, right? You have to make such a big decision. Like, have you ever, I know you said you went through college, maybe, I don't know, regretting it or thinking about it, but you gotta, like, did you ever, like, accept, like, hey, you know what, like, stuff happens, like, that's how I was young?
It really took me a while to do that, because like I said, like, I had my eyes set on Big D1, and, like, the first recruitment thing I ever got was after my sophomore year, when we won the conference and went third round. I think like as soon as we got back to school, I had a letter from Florida State. So in my head, I'm thinking like that's where I'm going. So then like going all through high school, like, you know, I was thinking that, and then senior year when I actually committed to Wingate, I was thinking like I'm gonna just be there for a little bit of time, and then get there, play, try to transfer, credits don't work out, and I'm like still gonna end up somehow. And then my sophomore year played, and that was kind of when it hit me like, all right, like I started understanding how like college recruiting works, and like what they're really trying, like the coaches are trying to invest. They're giving you a scholarship, so they got to make sure they're making the best decision. And then I'm just like, for me, it was kind of a thing I had to think about it. Like, you know, I'm here for a reason. Like, I can't really change it. Like, God put me here, so like, you know, like, just try to accept it. But then I really accepted my junior year at Wingate when I had a really good season. I was just like, you know, I'm content with being here. So like, just make the best of it.
Mm-hmm. So obviously, like you said, you went to Wingate. You redshirted your first year. During that redshirt process, like what did you learn the most? Like, did you have to learn a lot? Like the playbook? Did you realize how hard college football really is?
Yeah, it was. The playbook was a big thing because you know, like the school I went to, we were kind of just like a seagrass, you know, attack grass type team. So like we didn't really have too many coverages. Didn't know a lot about like, you know, like gap schemes and like different techniques that you could play. So it was, I had to learn a lot about that, like just in fall camp of my freshman year, and then like actually being on the sideline watching the guys play. Like I learned about like how like you have to take care of your body on and off the field. Like you can't just show up on Saturdays and play good. You know, it's kind of like a all around thing, like year round. Like even when you're on fall break or summer break, you gotta lift, stuff like that. Like you just gotta take care of yourself, like eat good. So it was really like a kind of like getting introduced to like football as a, you know, collegiate athlete compared to like high school where you just can show up and like, you know, do your thing. But that, I mean, that's what sets people apart. Like the greats, you know, they in high school they were working hard, and then you get to college and it's, you kind of do the same thing. So that was really the biggest eye-opener for me.
So you switched positions you came in as a linebacker, switched to defensive line. When did that happen? What year was that?
My sophomore year, we had a starting defensive end had got some trouble. So I played linebacker my first game sophomore year, and then like in between like that's the 2 Saturdays, the coach came up to me and was like, you know, he got in trouble, so like, can you come down? Like, you're one of the bigger linebackers, like just be for a couple games. So I'm like, yeah, like I have no problem with that, like no biggie. And I really wasn't thinking, like when he asked me, I'm just thinking like, you know, my coach asked me, so I'm gonna do it. And then like probably like the 4th game, I was kind of like wow, I play DN now, like I'm not a linebacker. So, but I was behind the All-American linebacker or DN that we had, and so I learned a lot from him. But it was kind of like I had to like, it really didn't click for me till like the end of the season that I was playing in, and then going into my junior year, like that's when my first year I started at DN, and I was like I'm actually here. So it was definitely different for me, just having to learn a different style of football, because I had never played it in my life. But I was there, and I was just like, all right, let's attack it, you know.
I mean, your junior year, you stretched together some good numbers, some really good numbers, and obviously led them to 10 wins, which was incredible. I mean, to know that was the first 10-win season at that university, was that kind of like mind-blowing to you?
Yeah,
you hear that?
It was, because like they would always tell us about the past stats and everything. We're like we just felt like they should be a better school than that, but it was just like, it was a tough conference, like one of the toughest in D2. And then like for me, like I was the new guy, you know, like first time playing DN, first time starting. So a lot of teams would just attack me, like they would run every play at me, and it was like I said, I've always played up, so I was like, I wasn't scared or anything like that. And then they would come to me and I would make the plays. But the thing was, like I definitely I was like suffering with a lot of injuries that year, so it was like I didn't have the year that I wanted to have. But like now that I'm older and I look back, I look at the stats, I'm like, all right, that was like pretty good for your first time, like starting at DN, like actually playing. So like I mean, I accepted it now, but at the time I was like, no, it's not good enough, you know.
I mean, your highlight tape's crazy. I'm being honest. I was watching it. It's crazy. Like you can blow up plays pretty easily.
Yeah, I mean, we had a great coach at the DN spot, Coach Knight. He definitely taught me a lot of stuff, but then like it just goes back to like playing for so long, like, you know, you see a certain amount of plays in your lifetime, like it just kind of comes natural to you. So you just gotta, like, as long as you're there in the moment, like you can just make the plays. But like, I mean, we definitely had like a lot of great leaders on the team that kind of like helped me to like reach that point. And like, you know, it's kind of, I knew I had great linebackers behind me, great safety. So I'm like, if something comes to me, I gotta make the play. So like,
I mean, you had crazy pursuit. You could chase on anyone. You were chasing them all down.
Should be a running back, bro. Like, I should have been a running back.
You did play a little offense in high school, right?
I did. I was a receiver.
Okay.
And wildcat quarterback. Definitely was.
Really, a wildcat quarterback.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Did you just just run with the ball a lot?
Most of my plays most of mine were like just, get the ball, little play fake, and I'm gone. But then I did throw a couple passes. But like for me, like I ain't gonna lie to you, offense was what I wanted to play. Like growing up, I was always a linebacker, fullback, and I get to high school and my freshman year, like I started at linebacker and the coach was like, "Yo, try running back," and I went over there and it was just like an immature thing. Like I was like the 4th string running back and I was like I'm just go back to linebacker, like forget it. So then sophomore year, play straight linebacker. Then my junior year, they kind of moved me in like rotation as like a receiver, but it was just like for short yardage. And then came back around senior year and we had lost a lot of like our like good receivers and they were like, let's try it out. And I went through summer and ended up being pretty good at it. But it was like I was always growing up, I always watched offensive players highlights. So this is like for me, it's just like a thing. Like loved it,
Yeah. I mean, do you enjoy hitting them as a running back, or I guess hitting them as a linebacker? Is it like different in any way? Like
it's way different.
Because you gotta
like for me, it's like as a running back, I feel like it's easier to run somebody over than to tackle somebody because like you're the running back, like
you just run out, you make the moves, right?
You make the move.
Running back, you gotta like read what they're doing.
Yeah, so it's like for me, it's like it's way easier to make somebody miss or like run somebody over than to tackle somebody because like you said, you're reacting instead of being the person they're reacting off of. So I definitely miss those days. Tried to go back at Wingate, they wouldn't let me.
Really?
Yeah, and then I pick with CJ Spill all the time about let me get a couple reps at running back, but it's not gonna happen.
I feel like I'm surprised, like especially at Wingate, like they didn't give you a chance. I mean, you're a big guy.
Yeah.
Like, you can run some people over, especially early in your career. It's not like you're switching late.
Yeah.
Right? Like I understand now, you're later in your career, but I mean, then that's surprising.
It was just my freshman year at Wingate, we definitely had some dudes on our team. Like on the offensive side, like our running backs, we had 3 that were just insane, and then like receivers, like we had some great receivers, and it was just like a thing. Like it's college now, so they were really trying to take that risk. And like you were just like a guy that's just like a freak, and like I mean, like I was pretty good, but like I think I had that, for them to be like, all right, you can do it. So I just had to accept that days are over, But
so what was Coach Reich like at Wingate?
He was a really good coach. Very, he had a culture set, and he believed in that culture. But he was definitely a coach that, he had his ways, and he's gonna stick to them. You gotta abide by him or get out, type thing. But he's just a guy that loves to win, and he would try to do everything he could to make sure that the team would win, and try to keep any distractions out. And he was also a coach that he'll work with you. Like something happens, college kids get to college, grades or trouble or something like that. Like as long as you're doing what you're supposed to on the field, he'll make sure that he'll just try to help you out and understand what you're going through.
Were him and Coach Knight good coaches to have around? As you're entering college your first year, were they good to have as, I don't know if mentors is the right word, but yeah, like you said, help you out, point you in the right direction, help you figure things out.
Yeah, well, so for my freshman year, I had my linebacker coach was a guy named Coach Jordan, and he was just a very, very intense coach. So it was kind of like a thing. He's gonna make sure you're doing what you're supposed to. If you're not, he's gonna tell you about yourself. But then going to Coach Knight, he's more like a more relaxed, laid back type guy. So he would anything you need, he make sure you had it. Great coach, just make sure he wants you to be the best player that you can be. So that was kind of his thing. And then like for me, it was since I played on the defense side, I didn't really get to talk to Coach Reich that much. But when I did, maybe just anything you needed, make sure you let me know or anything like that. But I had to spend a lot of time with Coach Knight because I was with him from sophomore year to I left in this past December. So he was definitely one I was the closest with. Mm-hmm.
So obviously there's a lot of games you played in at Wingate, but is there one game that sticks out to you the most that you always remember that you enjoyed being a part of?
I would say probably my sophomore year. This is when I was the backup to the guy that was the All-American at DN. So we made it to the second round of playoffs, and we played University of West Georgia. And so one of our assistant coaches had just left there and came to us. And so the time before the game, he sent him a text and was we'll beat y'all. We gonna beat y'all, right? And we he sent it and they posted it all over the locker room. And we're whoa, is this real? They was yeah, he texted me this, and they posted on everybody's locker. So like the whole week, like we were just kind of grinding it out, making sure like everybody was on their cues. So when we go down there, like we would beat them, and like we were definitely the underdog. Like they had us projected to losing them probably like by like 25 points, and we go down there and like basically blow them out. Like it was a really intense game, but that was like the first time for a lot of us that we played like in a really big stadium, like because they had a really nice facility. Played there, and then like beat them really good, and then went back, and then we lost the next week. But like I'll say that one, and then my junior year we played a school called Carson Newman.
Yeah.
And we had kind of been barely beaten the past couple of years, and like that was my first game that I like really like had a game like really was like, okay, I'm maybe good at this DN thing. Like I had a couple sacks, a couple tackles for losses. I had like 10 tackles, so it was like that was like the first game for me. Like I kind of gained that confidence to be able to know that I could just really play that position and do it well.
Yeah. So before we move on to Clemson, I want to talk about you're at Wingate during the whole COVID thing,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that was obviously a big deal. No one knew what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
What happened? Like, how did you motivate yourself to work harder? Because you weren't allowed to like have formal practice, right?
Mm-hmm.
You had to like do it on your own.
Mm-hmm.
So how were you able to? Because I'm gonna be honest. I feel like a lot of people. I'm not speaking for anyone,
Yeah.
but I feel like people would like to slack off,
Yeah.
right? Especially in a sport where you have to lifting and doing all these things.
Mm-hmm.
How do you motivate yourself? What was that whole experience like during the off season of it?
For me, it was I had really built a routine during like the quarantine phase. Like we got sent home, I think like March or something like that, and so like the first couple of weeks, like I was one of those guys. Like I was just chilling. Like I'm like, oh, I got a break from football. Like let me just relax. I'm chilling with friends, like playing the game. But then it just came to a point where I'm like, I started watching like different like vlogs of NFL players. I'm like this what they doing like during the quarantine. Like why am I not? So started. I had a trainer back home and started going to him. 5 times a week. So then it was kind of like a thing like, oh, I got to work out because I play football. But then I kind of fell in love with like just working out and like kind of getting better. And then I had like a goal to just I was about 240 because I was playing DN, so I had got up to like 240, and I was like, I want to cut back down to like 210. So I was like, let me try to lose this weight. So started working out, like eating really good, like taking a lot of vitamins and stuff like that, and like really getting into health. And so it kind of just became like a lifestyle. So then when we get back to Wingate, they didn't tell us until probably like a couple weeks before that they canceled our season.
Yeah.
So I get back, and it was like I said, it was like a routine thing for me. So I was keeping on working out. We would have like team or position like workouts and whatnot, but it wouldn't be like with pads or anything. So we'd do those, but then like we couldn't lift as a team. So go to the gym with me and some of my buddies, and like we would just get a good pump. Gyms that was like a bodybuilding gym, and met some older guys that gave us great advice. So then it was like a routine thing, and then they announced we would have a spring season. So then that was kind of really the time for me to like put everything together. But we hadn't played football in so long, like it was still kind of like a learning experience. Like I not even learning experience, but just had to get back in the groove of like actually tackling somebody opposed to just lifting and looking forward to it. Like it was actually here.
Yeah, so that spring season you bring it up, it was you played 4 games.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like a weird thing to happen just because no one plays football in the spring, right? So when you found out you were having it, were you excited because you get to go back out there? Was it just like, why are we doing this?
For me, I was excited.
Yeah.
Like I like going into like I was really like during quarantine training like just for the comeback for that season because like I'm thinking in the fall I'm gonna be playing, so I need to be in the best shape. So then it was kind of hard like when we got back and they didn't let us work like play or anything like that. So I'm like it kind of made me lose a little bit of motivation, but then at the same time I'm like it's gonna come soon enough. So I'm like I might as well keep going. So then when it finally came around, I don't even think I've ever been so excited to play football again because like you don't really understand how much you love something until you lose it or about to. So like
I get that.
Got back to the point where we were playing and it was just like a thing like I'm back in the groove of it, and it was definitely different because we're used to just doing spring ball, but like being able to play other teams and like do all of that, it was and something I enjoyed. Like I really did enjoy it a lot.
Yeah, that Barn game must have been weird since they had this much film,
Yeah.
right? And they haven't played in 70 years.
Yeah.
The heck is up with that?
We really like, honestly, we weren't, because their whole team was like freshmen pretty much, like freshmen, a couple.
You smoked them, right?
No, we lost.
Oh, you serious? I thought you.
Oh no, okay, I'm lying. in the spring we smoked them. Okay, we definitely smoked them in spring. We beat them. But that's crazy. I forgot about that one.
Right.
So we I remember that.
Let's talk about both of them.
Yeah. So only thing we had was like plays that we think they would run like based off of their offensive coordinator. So like we're like, all right, we're gonna blow them out. So like guys, I ain't gonna say we slacked off, but we were gonna like really press about them or anything. Mm-hmm. And then we come out and like I said, a lot of the team was just like straight freshmen and guys that had transferred, so they really didn't have that chemistry. So for us, we had a lot of returners, and it was just like a thing. We were just playing honestly, and it was an easy game. But I definitely forgot about the spring game with them.
So the spring game is when you smoked them, right? 55-14. Mm-hmm. What about the other one that you're thinking about? What happened there?
That's the one that's ingrained in my head.
That's the one I got to ask about now, yeah.
So we came out, we had some film from the spring and the games they played earlier that season. So we're thinking of going through the same thing. But I don't know, they came out with like a different intensity. And they had all their fans, they got a small town and like all the fans came out like chanting, we had our fan base, but they were just like a lot louder. So like they came out and like we started off doing pretty good, and then it just kind of like we just started making a lot of mistakes on both sides of the ball, offense and defense, special teams as well. And it was kind of a closer game than it should have been, and then they finally took off. And then like for me, I tore my meniscus in that game. Oh. But I didn't know. Like I thought
Oh my gosh. That's absurd.
Yeah, bro. I hit it, or somebody kicked me at one point, but then I landed on it and like a couple plays later, and like I was like, something feels weird, but I'm like, I'm straight. But like I still ended up having like a pretty good game. I think I had like 2 tackles for loss and like 6 or 7 tackles or something like that. So I'm like all right, like I'm straight. And then but then we lost, and I'm like on the bus ride home, I'm like, all right, we just lost to Barton, and like my knees hurt. So I'm like, what's going on? Like I just remember that game specifically from that season. Like I'm like, that was just like the turning point of everything for us. Like
that's such a weird.
Yeah.
So was the game close because they just came out different, or did you guys kind of go into it the same mindset, or was it a mix of both?
I think it was a mix of both. I feel like a lot of guys probably took them lighter than they should. Mm-hmm. But then like with Clemson, like we were one of like the powerhouses in our conference. So any team we played, they were gonna give us our best. So they came out and like they were, like I said, like from the jump, they were just an intense team. Like they definitely played harder than us that game. And once we got down, like a lot of guys, you could tell they were defeated, and it was just like one of those things like football mishaps, and it definitely happened to us.
Is it weird being the hunted rather than the hunter, right? Because you said you're the top dogs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Bulldogs.
Yeah.
But like, was it weird having like everyone brings their best against you guys? Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, I'm kind of like I'm used to it. Like I said, my high school, like we were one of the top in our conference, so like still was kind of the same thing with that. And then I get to Wingate. We win the conference freshman year. Sophomore year, I think we lost to one team, which was Kyle Duggar's team. So at every season I was playing in there, like we were the top dogs. And then even my junior year, same thing. And then senior year, same thing. So it was just like I was kind of used to it at that point. Like I didn't really look at it like that. But then once we got into those type games like that, it was just like we had to like have a different mindset, because like we're definitely the team that people want to beat. So we should play everybody the same.
So what was it like seeing Kyle Duggar play?
Dude, he's a freak. Like one of the craziest athletes I've ever seen in D2. Really in football in general. He was just like a guy that was like super athletic, but then he also had like a lot of like knowledge for the game. So like when you got that kind of combination, and then we're playing him like a school that's our rival, and he's playing punt return, safety, like all special teams and making plays on everyone. Like it's just a guy you kind of gotta respect. And then he's like he went second round,
like 37th pick. To the
like,
Patriots.
Doesn't happen.
That's a good team, right?
That doesn't happen, bro. Like so, like seeing that, he was definitely a motivation for a lot of guys that were at the D2 level, especially in our conference. Like every team, people were talking about Kyle Duggar. So and seeing him my freshman year and like some of the stuff he was doing to our best players, I was like, wow, like this is what I want to be like, So, yeah.
What about safety?
Should have been a safety,
Safety, running back, anything but your position.
Yeah, bro. Just put me anywhere, bro.
Yeah. So you go to Clemson, right? You transfer there. What was the whole process like of saying, all right, I'm moving on from Wingate, I'm gonna play my last year at Clemson? What was that whole process like to, I guess, to walk on, be the transfer walk on, right? That's what you ended up doing, and just figure out where you want to go to college.
So coming out of Wingate, just because it's a D2 school, like you don't have as much money to kind of like or time to really like invest in the players' like future or whatnot. So I really wanted to, I had always been since KJ was here, I've been like coming down here, like I knew what Paul's journey was, and I knew what the next level was to like, if you didn't play football, like you need some help in, outside getting like a job or something like that. So before like even thinking about any of that, I was just focused straight on the NFL. Like I'm like, I gotta, try. I tore my meniscus, so didn't get to finish like the last 3 games. So I'm like, I want to try to make it to the league. So I was going to try to, I put myself in the portal and like was talking to different schools or whatnot. So I was actually like about to go to Fayetteville State University. Like that was the school I was really set on because I had like some good connections and they got some good connections with the NFL. So I was like, go there, switch conferences, and it's HBCU, so they have like a lot of exposure going on with them now, as far as like getting those players seen by the NFL. So I was like, focus on them. So then like, I was sending out film to like bigger schools too, just to see what they would do. And my mom, she was working one day, and like I was telling her, I just sent something to, I think it was like NC State or something, and she was like, "Did you try Clemson?" I'm like, "They're not gonna go to Clemson. Like they're not gonna accept me." So then I was like, I just tried. So couldn't find any of the coaches' information. So then I was like, I need some way to get it. So sent my film to KJ. I was like, just like, try to look out for me. So got the coach. They liked my film, and they told me that if I got into school, I would be able to, walk onto the team. So got in to the grad program, and so it took me like 2 weeks to be able to, start working out with the team and everything. But then like for me, I had meniscus surgery, so I hadn't ran or worked out or anything, just because I couldn't. Like I got cleared the day I got here, so
wow.
Got here and had to just jump straight into the fire, and it was just like like it was where I wanted to be, because I knew even if I didn't get a shot at the NFL, I'll have a job opportunity somehow. Like if I put the work in, just through like the Paul journey and like the internships that they offer and like different leadership things. So
yeah, definitely. I mean, I guess your mom really helped you out with that recommendation.
She did.
Yeah, moms know best.
She did. And she literally was on a call. She's like, "Try Clemson," and went back to the call, and I was like, "Nah." But I'm definitely glad she gave me that, because I never would have even thought about doing it.
So when you found out, like, going to Clemson was, it was going to happen almost, it was, the process was right there for you. Like, what were, like, I don't know if I want to say your emotions. I'm not saying you were crying or something, right? But, like, what was going through your mind? Because, like you said, you were like, nah, they're not going to take me. Yeah. And they're like, hey, there's a real chance. Just get into school first.
It was, honestly, like, it was overwhelming, because, like I said, like since he's been here, like I've been coming to games, come down to hang out on the weekends when we didn't have games. So like I've been around like the environment as far as just like being like outside of football. Like anytime they were doing anything outside of football, I was there. But then like being in the stands at a game, I'll be like, all right, like this is really, really cool. And like for me, like I've been a fan since Ben Bull was here. Like he was my favorite guy. So favorite linebacker. So I was always like a Clemson, like follow Clemson and everything, but like I never really saw myself being a Tiger just because I was at a D2 like Wingate. So I'm like, that's not gonna happen. So when I actually was like the worst, everything was starting to work out, and I was like, wow, like this is actually like this close. Like, so I was really, really like really excited for a long time, like just anticipating it, because it took like 2 weeks for me to get in, and then 2 weeks to work out. So it was a lot of waiting. But then like I remember I got the call and I was at work, and like I was supposed to be working there, just all the Christmas break. Got the call at work. I'm like told my boss, and he was like, "No way!" And I was like, "Yeah, like it's crazy." So then got the call, and then had to come down like the next day for a team meeting. Like so it was like everything happened so fast, and then like I had to move down. I went for the team meeting on like a Friday. Then had to come back home, pack all my stuff up, and move in like on a Monday or something like that. So like it was
quick turnaround. Yeah, I mean that just is a glimpse of what D1 is like, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what is D1 like?
It's crazy, especially at a school like this, because like I knew kind of like smaller D1s because I took a lot of visits like App State, like those schools, Elon. But being at a Power 5, it's just like, especially like Clemson, like one of the top ones. It's I can't even explain it. Like the resources that you have, like the amount of people that you have for like each part of your life that you need. Like, you need counseling, you need food, nutrition, like trainers, like everything you need, like it's there for you, and it's like it's at your disposal. So it's like really what you want to take advantage of, you can. So like if you want to reach your full potential, step into their office, do their thing, follow their rules, and take advice from them. So everything you need is there. It's different.
I mean, you got a lot of good resources, right? But expectations are high, and then just in general, the day to day, is it like just different than D2? Like just the process of, I don't know what time you start working out at, but waking up, working out, school, working out again, watching film.
Yeah, it's honestly, that was a big adjustment for me because like Wingate, like it's a great school, but it's just like at the D2 level, they don't have like the money or like the time to like kind of like set off certain things. So it's like here, like you can set your classes to where like you have to be able to work out at this time, go to practice at this time. But like there, like you just get your classes, and like if something happens to where you can't go to practice that day, like you're just one of the guys that can't go.
Really?
And then like workout times, like we only had like a certain amount of times that we could work out just because of like the class schedules. But get here and like you got a 6:30 workout that you can go to a 7:30, 8:30, and then like a 2 o'clock. So it's like go to either one, but when you lifting in there, like you really getting that lift in. Like you have to have enough time to be able to lift for like an hour and 30 to 2 hours, something like that. Just how long it takes to get the lift done. But there, like we had like 45 to an hour, something like that. So it's like just the time that you have to invest in your sport is totally different.
Oh, I bet. I mean, I remember even last semester I had some classes with some of the football players, and it was a 10 o'clock a.m. Business calc, and not fun. No one wants to do business calc. But their first class is at 10, and they come in, they're like, "Yo, I just had a lift." I was like, "What?"
Yeah.
I was there for hours just lifting out to come do this.
Yeah.
It's just like it's crazy the amount of time you need to make for football. It's like you have football and then everything else around it, right?
It is. They definitely put a large emphasis on classes, which is why like at Neary, like we got the advisors, so they like set your schedule and everything, make sure your classes are straight around the football schedule. But like in the springtime, like you're really like grinding it out. Like 6, it's like mandatory, like 6 for everybody. So come in and like you're really like working like, and you have like a lift first and then run, or you run first, lift. So like before everybody else is pretty much up, like every other student, you're pretty much exhausted for the day. Like dead, workout, then you eat something and you're even more tired. And like for me, I'm lucky I'm in grad school, so all my classes are online. But guys going to the class, if I would have been one of them, I don't know. I don't know how that would went.
I'm sure you would have adapted.
Yeah.
But so first game that you in Death Valley was against Furman, one of the teams I was looking at you to start.
Yeah.
But what was just like the entire moment like putting that uniform on, putting the helmet on, run down the hill?
Yeah. It really hit me when I was warming up. Like I ran out and I just seen the crowd starting to fill up, and for me, I would usually be one of the guys that was just in the crowd, because I've been coming to games for like 4 years. So me and the crowd just watching them like, oh, that's so-and-so, that's so-and-so. So then I come out and I look around and I'm like, whoa, like I'm here. So then we go in and come back out for, we ride the buses around. So when I drop my chips in, I'm like, wow, like did I just do that? Like, am I doing this right now? Go around and like on the bus, all you hear is like crowd, the fans screaming, and you hear the police escort. Like that's all. Like it's so quiet on the bus, and then it's that, and then you come out those doors and it's just like all the fans going crazy, and it's just like touching hard rock. And the first time I ran down the hill, like I just remember like taking it all in, like I'm really on the team now. Like it's crazy.
That is absurd. Like I'm sure you're getting chills saying that. Like it's crazy. Like, it is crazy. I mean, it's so hyped. I mean, how many seats does Wingate hold? I mean, is it?
I say probably 1,500 to like 2,000 maybe.
And now you got 82,000 plus because people are just right there. It's nuts.
It is, and it's like I thought I would be nervous, like being able to like playing in front of that many people, but it's really like an energy booster, like because you can't. I don't know, at a smaller school, like you can focus on people like, oh, that's so and so, they can see me right now, but like with that many people and like it's that loud, you're just like it just kind of gives you like an adrenaline rush. Like it's not even I've never been nervous in that stadium like and I don't know how, but I've been more nervous playing that game at Wingate than here.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Yeah.
So.
What was it like running down the hill and just hearing that cannon go off and you're off?
It was like I said, it was surreal for me because
Yeah.
I'm just used to watching it, like being in the stands and like, all right, let's go, it's game time. But then like running down, like I was really nervous about getting hurt because like people, like everybody was like, bro, people like either fell or like got hurt in the hill, so I was nervous about that. But then running down and just hearing all the fans, I'm like, wow, like it's time's here. Like, and it got, I don't know, running down the hill is just something that I just feel like is running a sacred thing for me because, like I said, in my high school,
I was going to say, this is just like your high school,
Yeah.
right? The Rock at your high school,
Yeah.
the Rock here.
we run down the hill, everybody's going crazy, and that was our interest. So then, like doing it here is just like it's just like full circle, you know.
What's better, run down the hill and the smoke coming out at Reagan, and then, or just run down the hill here with everyone yelling?
I don't know. I feel like I'll say Reagan just because it's just like the tradition of it. Like it's your high school, you know, like
Friday Night Lights.
Friday Night Lights. Like you just can't. For me, I don't think any football level will ever top that. Like NFL, I don't care what you're playing. Like Friday Night Lights is just different. Like it's that like the age range you're in, and then like just the time of life it is. It's just like it's different.
Yeah.
But like here's it's different. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, hard to compare.
Yeah.
So you got your first action against Louisiana Tech, I believe, right? Going on the field now. You're on the field. You're in the game. What's going through your mind? What's happening? Are you looking around? Like,
just thinking, don't mess up. You know, it's not like I said, it's not Wingate where it's a couple thousand people. It's national. You know, people like on TV. So like anybody can just watch you. So you go out there and get embarrassed. Like you could end up on either Sports Center or like somebody's TikTok, something crazy. So I'm like, don't mess up. But then I'm like, you know, just play football. Like I've been playing football my whole life, so I'm like, it's really just the same thing, just on a bigger stage. You know, I was just, and like I said, it was just this real moment for me. That was kind of the thing I had to like hold myself back. Like, don't be a fan right now. Like you're playing, bro. Like,
I know.
Like relax, you know.
That's hard though. That's hard to say that. I mean, like you got to settle in because you've done it your whole life, but it's not on that stage. It's just crazy.
I mean, it was something that I definitely had to talk to myself about, and then it's just like I'm like, all right, once I did a little bit of self-talk, I'm like, all right, let's go, like just play football. Like don't even think about nothing else, just be out here in the moment and take care of yourself. Yeah,
so another game I want to talk about, because you know, Winston-Salem, you win, you played at Wake Forest, friends, family there, like what was it like having them see you be wearing the Clemson uniform and be able to catch up with all of them, right?
Yeah, that was really insane, because like every game I've ever went to, like, because I've been going to Clemson Wake games since I was a little kid, so like always been a blowout. Like maybe in a couple, like when I was really young, it might have been good, but it's always been a blowout. So I'm thinking we're gonna go down there and just blow them out. You know, I'm gonna wave to my not my fans, but like my family and friends, and like, you know, hug them after the game and move on. But it actually ended up being a really, really good game.
Yeah, it was like
it
was a really good game.
So I was like being there, like actually like witnessing us like really have to be tested for the first time this season. It was something I was just like, you know, like this is college football, like this is Clemson football, like everybody's gonna give you your best shot, and you got to be ready for it. But then like having my friends and family that were there, like the people that I got tickets for, like I know they're gonna be there, but then it's like people that are just in my town, like I've grown up with, they're like texting me like, hey, I'm at the game, and I'm like this is crazy, like, you know, people I haven't talked to since probably like high school, like they're like, yo, I saw you out there. I'm like, this is what, you know, everybody dreams for.
Yeah.
Think about college football and stuff like that.
Crazy game though. I mean, Wake's offense is the receivers are crazy.
Yeah.
All taller than me.
Nah, me too. It's crazy because you know, Christian Bill, he transferred from there.
Yeah.
So like we'd be at home on Christmas break, and he would bring those guys like Perry and all them. Like we'd be, you know, chilling with them, and I'm watching them. I'm like, don't do it too dirty. Like, you know, relax a little bit. But
he's crazy.
Yeah, bro.
He's something else.
And then like Sam Hartman, like I'm chilled with him before, and I'm like wow, like why is this? Everything was just like a lot of stuff like full circle for me. Like I'm just thinking like, dang, this is crazy. Like I'm used to being a fan, but now like in the midst of it, so it's like
their offense is wild. That weird delayed.
Like nobody, that shouldn't work.
No, it shouldn't.
And that's why we run the whole game. We're like, why is this working on this?
It keeps working.
And it was they affected it, and they got good players. So we I ain't gonna say we didn't come to play that day, but it took us too long to turn it on.
it worked out at the end. But
Yeah.
before we get to, just a few more questions, I want to talk about preparing for a game, at Clemson, and just in general, but I guess, we're on the Clemson topic. Like, what's the process like throughout the week? You come off the game on Saturday, and then what's happening next, I guess, 6 days, 5 days?
So for me, it'll be like Sunday, kind of be like the, mentally or like wind down day.
Yeah.
Go to church, and then kind of like reset my body to like do like stretching, a little bit of treatment, something like that. And then like pretty much the whole week of like preparing for a game is a lot of film, because like that was something I learned early at Wingate. Like, you got to watch film on your opponents to be able to know, their tendencies and like how to beat them and everything like that. So that, and then just like really in practice, you just got to treat it like a game. Like, you can't take any day like, oh, it's just practice. Like, you got to treat it like a game. So when the game comes, you'll be ready. It'll just be like rehearsal for you. So then, just kind of doing those things, and then like taking care of your body, making sure you're eating right throughout the week. Any advice your coaches are giving you, make sure you listen to that. And then just treating every opponent the same. Because if like you said, like going into a game where you're like, oh, we're supposed to beat them, you're probably going to lose. Like, it's just not a good idea to have. But yeah, just kind of stay focused on like that week. Like, say you're playing a team that's not that good, but you got a good team next week. Like, don't look ahead, just kind of like staying focused on that week and just being in the present instead of like looking in the future or behind you.
How important is it to not look ahead? Because you always hear that. Everyone always says, don't look at the next week. Mm-hmm. But how important is it to not look ahead and not overlook your opponent?
Yeah, it's super important, because like if you're looking ahead, like you're gonna miss something that you shouldn't, like to beat that team that you're playing that week. And it's like Dabo always says, like whatever game we're playing that week is the most important game of the year. And I mean, that's true, because like you lose one, that can mess up the rest of the season that you're looking forward to. So like you have to really be in the present, just to make sure, like, first of all, you don't miss that part of life. Like I said, you don't get time back and stuff like that. So you want to, definitely take the time to enjoy that moment, but then you don't want to miss any small details that could, be the difference between a big play or you missing a play or something like that.
Totally. Mm-hmm. And so the next thing I want to bring up is the Miami game, just because it was, senior day. Mm-hmm. What were the emotions like in terms of, like, I'm sure your family was there, because it's a big game, it's senior day, right? And just thinking about, like, hey, I gotta enjoy the moment. Like, you've been talking about that a lot recently, enjoying the moment, but just like knowing, like, the college football at least, just kind of gets winding down, at least in your playing days. So what was that whole just day like and just time like?
It was really sentimental, just because, so at Wingate I didn't get a senior day because I was supposed to be back this season. Like at the end of that season I was planning to come back, and then over break it happened. So it was like, for me, it was like that was my first senior day since high school. So I'm like, first of all, I'm like, all right, this is crazy. Like, I'm about to be done with college football. But then, like, doing it at Death Valley, like, where they call your name and, like you said, like 80,000 people are just screaming, and you're like, even though, like, they may I'll not be like one of the top players on the team, like, they're still showing that appreciation. And then, like, I have my friends and then, like, my teammates that I've been grinding with since I've been here in January, like, just you kind of reflect back on, like, the whole time, just like reflecting, like, wow, like the process that since I've been here has just been crazy. And, just kind of being, like, grateful for it, that I got to experience it, like, the goods, the bad, like, all of that. Yeah. And then, just running down the hill for that last time, like, and then, like, being recognized for it. Like, we still had, like, 2 more games here, but it's just the thing of, like, you kind of got to take appreciation for it, especially, like, me, like, I've been a fan for so long, and being in the uniform and, coming down the hill and just hearing all the fans roar, it was really sentimental.
Yeah, I bet. So I have to bring up this game that no one would ask you about. Yeah. But before we talk about the actual game, I mean, was the intensity of that week different in any way? Just because it's like your rival? Just like, just in general, like, was it different?
Yeah. So the whole week was super intense. First of all, it was like we had a good perspective because Tennessee had just lost to them. So we're like, all right, like, don't play with them. Like, they can definitely, be a high-power offense and defense. So we had that perspective. But then it's, like, kind of just, like, the rivalry, like, it's the state championship. Like, that's where the state is split at, South Carolina, Clemson. So it's, like, you're playing for more than just, like, the team like we do usually. You're playing literally for your state. Like, you're just It was crazy, bro. I can't even, like, the whole week we were all focused on it, but it's like, you don't really understand it until you're in it. Like, we're prepared for it. You're like, all right, like, if we lose, like, we got to spend a whole 365 days really, like, hearing, like, you know, and then, like, Dabo would be like, y'all haven't experienced the loss of South Carolina. Like, none of y'all have. Like, y'all don't want that smoke. Like, it's different. So, like, going out there, like, we went up 14-0 early. So, we're like, I ain't gonna say we were like, this is in the bag, but like, we're like, all right.
My pick 6 was,
my roommate, shout out to my boy Trotter.
Yeah.
But like, we gonna blow them out. So, but then like, a lot of us were like, all right, we can't really get too lackadaisical because like they just beat Tennessee, so like they're definitely a good team. They got a really good offense, and their defense, they got a lot of scrappy guys. So we didn't get complacent. It was just a lot of stuff just started not going our way, But like the whole week, like, I mean, I feel like we prepared really well for it. The coaches made sure that we put emphasis on being perfect. Not even be perfect, but just doing our job, and football happens. And,
no, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a lot of, just like small mistakes, like you said. It wasn't like one big thing, but definitely a lot of intensity to it. A lot of, I mean, what did I'm sure did you talk to Christian about it? Did he bring it up?
Yeah, I saw him after the game, and he I've never beat him at all.
Really?
Like, high school, never beat his school. So then lost to him then. So the first thing he said, like, we beat y'all, just laughing at me. And we took a picture and everything, and then one of the pictures you can see, he's just like making fun of me type thing. But it's like, it's like, you can't really be mad because, like I said, I've been friends with him for so long. It's just like, just good seeing my friend, happy doing, like, playing football still, like, just doing that. And then actually, Jalen Brooks, he has number 13 for them.
Okay.
He played with me at Wingate. So
really? That's really cool.
He was a receiver there, and transferred there to South Carolina. So like seeing him be able to ball out like at this level, like came from D2, and now he's balling out on one of the best schools. So it's like just being able to see those guys happy. But then it just hurts to lose to South Carolina and we were about to break the record because I think it was nobody had ever won 8 games and we were at 7 in a row.
Really?
So we won that.
Oh, wow.
We broke the record.
A lot of history right there. Yeah. It's crazy.
Then the 40-game win streak.
Yeah.
Broke that. So it was just a lot of stuff that crumbled, pride and all that. So it was rough.
I was wondering, though, like, as a person, though, like, obviously, as a rivalry game, tough loss. I'm sure it was going to be in everyone's mind, right, for a while. But, like, you just gotta move on, right? Yeah. Like, what's, like, the process like? Is it just like Sunday, like you're upset about it, whatever, and then the new week comes, you got a new game to prepare for? Like, what's it like? For us,
I mean, we really have to move on because like we played them and now we're in the ACC championship. So it's like if we were to dwell on that game and kind of be like, oh, feel bad for ourselves, like we had the chance to miss out on getting another conference championship. So it's just like with any game you got to move on from it because, like I said, you got to be focused on what's next. But like for this game, like we're playing for something bigger now. Like they weren't in our conference. Of course, it sucks that we lost to our state rivals, but this is what we're playing for, a ring, So it kind of puts it in perspective. Like you just can't. It hurts that you lost, but next week's coming, and like this game could be the difference between playing Orange Bowl or playing in whatever other bowl, So like it's more on the table, and like I said, you don't want to look ahead, but like. We definitely want to be in like the highest bowl that we can be in, and then we definitely want to, get our face back from losing that game, and then playing the other side of the ACC, like why not be the champion? Like why would you not aim for anything less than that? So it's kind of a thing we just put in our past and move on. Yeah.
So what's it like being around Coach Sweeney? Right, because everyone says this and that. They see what he's like on TV, but what's it like? Being around him and the first time you met him and talking to him and just now, like, I guess, knowing him a little bit more.
He's just a guy with a lot of knowledge, like, has a lot of knowledge and, remembers everything, like, has a lot of great quotes, a lot of great, like, just advice about stuff like that. And he's just, like, a really passionate guy about what he does. He wants us to, like he says, his thing is come to college, graduate, win championships. That's what he wants us to develop into like the best man we could be. And I think that's a big part of like why we have so many resources and things that just make sure that we're taken care of on and off the field.
Yeah.
Like, so I mean, he's just a great coach with a lot of experience, a lot of history, and it's a guy that you definitely want to be in contact with. Like if you're a player, it doesn't hurt. Because he, like I said, he has a lot of knowledge about things like that. So a lot of quotes that he has, and you're just like.
Yeah.
They're ingrained in your head, like
Sweeneyisms or something, right?
Yeah,
what you guys call them.
Yeah, bro. Like even if you don't listen to them, you're gonna remember them for the rest of your life. So like, it's just stuff like that that'll stick with you forever.
Yeah, I bet. So one of my last questions for you is I was reading. So before, I don't know if you still do this.
Mm-hmm.
I read that like since 4th grade you watch like the same video before every game, which is like a big hit. Compilation.
Yeah, bro. Go on YouTube and it's big hits, and ever since I was younger, I would do that. Like,
is it the same one every time?
It's not the same one. It's like cause it's like the same ones, like the same year. Yeah. Like they all were like 20, like 2008, 2010, like those age. And it was like it's the same ones, and it's one that like the one that sticks out the most is like "Let the Bodies Hit the Floor." That's the song with it. Yeah. And I don't know. Since I was younger, like I remember, like I said, I didn't know how to tackle, so I would come out every game. I would just put it on my TV before I would leave the house, and do that. So then, like now, it's just a thing that I stuck with. But then when I was younger, I also would watch like some juke highlights or something like that. Yeah. But now I just play defense, so big hits.
Yeah. You get a pick six, or I guess a pick.
Yeah.
You gotta make the six come out of it.
Right? You gotta get to the crib.
Yeah. So my last question is just, again, your career for college football, winding down. Like looking back at everything so far, how would you just define your career? Like what have you learned? How have you grown? Just become the person, the player you are now.
Really, I'll say the thing I've learned is just how to like be peaceful in like whatever is going on. Like something could be going like football can be going really really good, or life could be going really good, and you got to be able to enjoy that, but don't get too attached to it. But then like it could go really really bad, and like I feel like if you learn how to control yourself and keep your composure when it's really really bad, when you finally get that high or whatnot, it'll be a thing of like you're grateful for it, and you just learn how to live in it. Like so like. I don't know. For me, it's like football. That's really what it's taught me. Because I've had a lot of ups and downs with football, like just different things happening, like and just kind of learn how to just like be peaceful in life. And then like another thing I would say is how to treat people, because football you have so many people from different backgrounds, different just stories in their life, and like you meet them at a certain point in your life, and you won't be with them forever. But at that time, like y'all are both impacting each other's life, so like you just learn how to like kind of enjoy people's company and like make connections and build lifetime friendships or whatnot. So
yeah, totally. Well, I appreciate it. Sorry, I got one more thing. I feel bad to ask all these questions for you.
You're good.
But you're a linebacker, in the linebacking core with you said your roommate Jeremiah Trotter and Barrett Carter, Trent Simpson. These guys are they're dogs, right? They're dogs. They are. But what's it like being around them, and how do you, I guess, iron sharpen iron, so how do you guys all make yourself better? And what's it just?
I would say we just, by being ourselves, like, we're all, like, I would say, like, our linebacker core is, like, a goofy group. Like, everybody's got their own different personality, but they're all, like, genuine guys, like, fun guys to be around. But it's like when it comes to work time, we're going to put that work in, make sure everybody's holding each other accountable in lifts. Like, you want to make sure you're going to put somebody like, oh, you can't hit this weight. I'll hit this weight before you do. So it's just like kind of like a friendly competition. But then just seeing like once we actually get out there and playing, like you're seeing those guys like compete and like in their element, you're just like wow, like this is what football is about. Like even if you're not a guy that's starting, you got to be able to cheer your brother on, and it's like you kind of just like that's another lesson that life teaches you. Like even if you're not the star at the time, like you got to learn how to cheer. If you're the star, you got to learn how to be cheered for it. Like stuff like that, you just you just kind of you love it. So like I don't know, our linebacker core, like I said, like it's a group of goofy guys. Like every day you're gonna get some laughs in, but like when it's time to lock in, like we all do it.
Yeah, That's awesome. Well, I appreciate it, man.
Hey man, appreciate you, bro.
Of course.